G'day there guys, it's Connie here from Marky Industries, and Merry Christmas from me to you. Hope you're all having a fantastic day. Anyway, we're reading some more stories from Reddit again. Sit back, relax, hit like and subscribe and all that stuff, and let's get straight to it. Alrighty, this one's from Relationships. It was written by user Christy83, and it's titled, My husband insisted he was gay while drunk. My husband and I have been married for 4 years. I'm 26, he's 30. In the 6 years we've been together, I've never had the suspicion that he was gay, assuming he actually is. The only signs I can really think of is that it took him a while to initiate sex. I always thought he was just shy, like he said. I still have to initiate sex often because he'll only do it like once a week, and sometimes won't even finish himself off. Sex is over once I've finished, and we barely have any foreplay before. He always said he was under pressure and work takes a toll on him. I never questioned it. I mean, he's a paramedic and I know it's a stressful job. 2 days ago, him and I were invited to a friend's get-together. While there, he drinks a lot with the guys and is completely hammered by the time we need to leave. He doesn't drink much normally either. One of his friends had to even come with me so he could help my husband walk from the car to the apartment. When we get inside, he asks me for more whiskey, so I give it to him since he didn't have work the next day. He drinks quite a bit of it. I'm tired, so I decide to head off to bed. I go to give him a kiss like usual. As soon as I started bringing my face closer to his, he leaned back so far he almost fell off the chair. He had this really confused and disgusted look on his face, and I laughed at first, but then when I went to kiss him on the cheek, he pushed my face away. He then looked at me really shocked and said, "No, I'm gay." So I backed off and went to bed. I couldn't sleep all night. After 6 years together, why would he say that now? But now that I think of it, I wouldn't be surprised if he was. The next day, we were having breakfast and he was extremely hungover. I start telling him how drunk he was last night, and he just laughs. Then I told him about what he did and said, and he looked straight up at me really worried. I must have looked really upset, because right after he said, "Everyone says stupid things when they're drunk. Forget about it." Then he walked off saying he needs a shower. He's been a little distant ever since. Maybe I'm reading into this too much, I don't know. It's bothering me a lot, and for some reason I feel very hurt. I'd appreciate some help. Man, what's that saying? Drunk people say sober thoughts or something like that? Let's go to the comments. When told to check his web history, Opie says, "I never find anything in his history, no porn in general. About a year ago though, I suggested watching porn together and then having sex. 30 seconds hadn't even passed through the video when he said he didn't like it, and we should just get straight to it. Ever since then, I didn't bring up porn again." Was it straight porn? Yes, we watched straight porn. One comment says, "If he's gay, he wouldn't enjoy it." Edit, by it I mean straight porn, not porn in general. Does he watch porn on his own? Do you know what kind, or does he hide it? It could be that it was the kind of porn that was a turn-off, not porn in general. With straight porn, he wouldn't even have the benefit of having an emotional connection like he does with you to keep him going. This is assuming he really is gay. Opie replies, "I tried looking at his history, but there's nothing there. No gay stuff in general. He's not very emotionally connected during sex with me either though. He just wants to get it done, and I always thought it was because he was tired." Does he come from a very religious background? Opie says, sort of. His parents are pretty religious and he went to a private Catholic school, but as far as I can tell, he doesn't seem to be religious. The commenter says, "I went to a private Catholic high school too, but I'm Jewish. Very possible that he's gay and repressing it due to the fear of how his family will react. Couples therapy at a minimum." If he is in fact gay, it can be awfully difficult to come to terms with at this stage of his life. Don't kid yourself, he loves you. It does sound like he's been trying to convince himself he is straight or deny he is gay. It does happen, however, it has no reflection on you. You didn't make him straight or gay. He is who he is. Imagine how embarrassing it was for him blurting it out. You two need to talk. I have 2 friends that came out after being married and having fathered children. Does it hurt? Sure. He may not be exactly the man you know and love. Talk, and more importantly, listen. Opie replies, "He won't talk to me though. He's been giving me the silent treatment. I think I might have pushed him too much." Opie updates 2 days later. Ever since I confronted him about what he said while drunk, he had been ignoring me and giving me one-word answers all day and today. He's been looking extremely tired, worn out, sad, and stressed. I didn't want to push him to talk to me about it because I thought it would make him explode. But it's been eating at me ever since, and I couldn't control myself, and I burst out crying while he was getting ready for bed. I told him I needed answers because I didn't want our relationship to be like this. He was really hesitant to talk to me, and tried leaving it at, "You don't need to cry, it's okay." But then I asked him if he was attracted to me, and he gave me a look of pity without giving an answer. Then I asked him about women in general, and he gave me the same look. It turns out, you guys were right. He's gay. Said he was meaning to tell me sometime soon. He said he drove himself crazy thinking about it and finding the right way to tell me that it came out while drunk instead. He said when we first started dating he thought he was bisexual, so he went on with it. Then he slowly came to realize he was gay, but dug himself into a much deeper hole by then. He said he was diagnosed with major depression and was prescribed antidepressants, but he couldn't take them because the side effects interfered with work. He also assured me he's never cheated on me, flirted with other guys, or been to any gay bars or clubs, and said he had no intention to. I do believe him though, because I know he's not that kind of person, but also because his daily routines are the same: work, gym, which is in our apartment, and then straight home. He barely uses his phone for any other purpose but calls. It doesn't have a passcode on it either, and he leaves it laying around everywhere. For some odd reason, I don't feel as angry and upset as I thought I would now that I know what's been going on, but I feel like I'm handling this too well and might break down sooner or later. He said the only way he can be fair to me at this point is if we get a divorce, so we agreed on that. He said he'd tell his friends, his family, and my family exactly what happened, so nothing's left in the dark. I guess it all makes sense now. When I first met him, he was a really happy and spirited person, and when I look at him now, it's completely gone. Thanks for the advice. It really helped prepare me for what went down today, and I appreciate it. Now, any tips on moving on would also be of help. Okie dokie folks, and that's the end of that story. Yeah, pretty rough ending for OP there, but it sounds like she's handling it well. I guess the silver lining is that they got out now before having kids or getting any further into their marriage. Anyway guys, give me your thoughts about that one in the comments, and we'll move on to another story. Alrighty, over on Am I the A-hole, this one was written by user Alternative Site, and it's titled, Am I the A-hole for how I reacted when my niece announced she was engaged? I, 33 male, have a pretty big age difference with my brother, 44. He had a child at 25, which means that I became an uncle at 14. Because we were pretty close in age, I formed a special bond with my niece, Ella, now 18. When she was 16, my brother and his family moved away, so I've been seeing them less recently, but we keep in touch and catch up at family events. Last year, at Christmas, my niece told me that she had a boyfriend and told me a bit about him, but I didn't know the guy. He was invited for Easter and a couple of other events, but was never able to make it. When we were planning our mother's birthday, my brother decided to invite Ella's boyfriend so that we could all meet him. Yesterday was the birthday. I was looking forward to meeting Mark, Ella's boyfriend, but was very confused when I saw her walk in with a man that looked double her age. Spoiler alert, he is. She introduced him to me and I politely smiled, but was deep down very concerned. I went to my brother to ask how old Mark was, and he told me that Mark is 36, so literally double Ella's age. She had told me that he was a bit older, but I assumed like early to mid-20s, not almost 40. That's when they called us in the living room to share exciting news. Ella showed us a ring and revealed that they were engaged. I just said, "What the F?" and everyone turned around and looked at me like I was crazy. I told them that they were out of their minds if they thought that this was normal, that there was no world in which a 30-something should date an 18-year-old, and that she shouldn't be getting married. All of them accused me of ruining Ella's happiness. Some even said that I was jealous of Mark, which is so freaking disgusting I can't even explain it. I mean, I'm younger than Mark, but never in a million years would I ever consider dating someone younger than 25. They told me that it was perfectly legal as they were both adults, which isn't true because they'd been dating for a year, and Ella turned 18 7 months ago, and that if they were happy, that's all that matters. I told them that they were sick for allowing this and that he was a predator, but they wouldn't listen. I know this isn't my business, but I can't help but fear for Ella. She is young and doesn't really know what she's getting into. I'm really scared of her getting married and being unable to leave him when she realizes how sick it was. I then left and slammed the door, and have been receiving pretty wild messages and calls since then. I don't know if I was wrong for this, and I'm just overreacting. And if I wasn't wrong, I don't know what I can do to make them realize how wrong it is. Am I the a-hole? No way, man. It's wrong enough that they're dating now, but when he said that they started dating when she was still 17, bro, Opie's concerns are very warranted. Let's go to the comments. A 35-year-old going after a 17-year-old is ick. They're just too far apart in life experiences and stations in life to have a relationship based on mutual respect and equality. These types of relationships are usually based on mutual exploitation. He gets a PYT, she gets access to material benefits not usually earned by people in her age group, and that is not a great thing to base a relationship on. I know I'm generalizing, and there are cases of true and healthy love between people with this kind of age gap, but my reaction is the same as yours. This likely puts you on the outs with your family, but someone had to say what you said. I, at 18 years, married a 31-year-old, and my advice to your niece is run, run, run. He's a predator, you're right. The most important thing you can do is get her on birth control because he's going to destroy her life. Not the a-hole. Call your niece and apologize for your outburst. Explain that you've never known a good man of that age to go after someone so young, and you reacted out of fear. Tell her you trust her to put herself first, and you're always there for her. This is important. It's pretty much guaranteed that she is or will be a victim of this man's abuse, so make it clear you'll ride or die. This is part of your insurance against isolation. Call your brother and apologize for your reaction. Then act like he must be concerned. Act concerned for him. How are you managing this? You must be so scared for her. It must have been awful to realize you couldn't protect her. Yep, lay on the shame by pretending to be concerned and empathetic. Find out how and where they met. Pretend to be interested in a cute way. Oh, how did you meet? If this man is in any sort of job that brings him near minors, report him. Do a social media search. Is he recently divorced, etc. Opie answers some questions. Does Opie and his family know anything about the boyfriend's background? I quickly went over his Facebook account, so it's not really verified info, but I saw pictures of him with his ex, I think, and she looked 20 to 24 maybe. It's still better, but if the guy has a thing for younger girls, that's even more wrong, and it seemed like he was still with his ex when he started dating my niece, so even weirder. How did Opie's niece meet the boyfriend? Through sports, apparently. My niece does tennis and so does he, in the same club, and they met during a tournament. At least, that's what she told me the first time she told me she had a boyfriend. And was the boyfriend Ella's coach when they met? No, I don't think so. From what I understood, Ella was in a tournament in her club and she played against adults. She played against Mark, and after, he came to talk to her, so they talked, and that was basically it. Okay, on to an update. So, I've taken the past 24 hours to really reflect on all of this. I tried to take in most of the advice in the comments, and here's what I've decided. I don't think that me telling her and everyone that the relationship is weird was wrong. I do, however, think that I did it wrong, and it was pretty harsh, because it was in the heat of the moment. But I still find this very creepy, and don't think she should get married. What I've decided to do is 1. Apologize to her. I sent her a text saying I was sorry for my outburst, and that I should have thought it through beforehand. I told her that I never wanted to make her feel like I didn't want her to be happy, and that I loved her very much and had her best interests in mind. 2. Ask her if we could talk about this. I asked if she was okay and free to hang out and maybe get coffee this week to talk about all of this with a clear head. I really want to try and get her to see why it's weird and that maybe marrying him is not a great choice. And 3. Explain myself to my brother. I sent him a text saying that I was sorry for the way I said it, but that I still thought that it needed to be said. I explained to him why I think Mark is a predator, and this relationship could have a very negative and damaging impact on Ella. I'm still waiting on their replies. I'll update when they reply, or when I see Ella, if she accepts, depending on how long it would take. In the meantime, I really want to thank everyone who gave me advice and was constructive and really tried to help my niece out of this situation. I also send my best to all of the people in the comments sharing similar stories when they were teenagers getting groomed. I'm so sorry this happened to you, and I really hope you're doing better now. Some comments say that Opie should be there for his niece should she have any further concerns or worries about her relationship with her boyfriend. He replies, If she doesn't want to talk about it, then fine, it's her choice, but the least I can do is ask her if she'd want to. You don't just let it go when it's predators we're talking about. Do you know how trapped she can be for years if she goes through with it? The least I can do is try my best to let her know that it's weird before she makes such a commitment. And if she doesn't want to hear it, then fine, but no one should just let it go when it comes to these things. Yeah, I'll definitely let her know that I'm always there and be ready to help her get out of the relationship when it all goes wrong, but I think it's also important to try and talk her out of it. It might not succeed, but if there's even the slightest chance that it might, then it's worth trying. I'd rather she gets out of the relationship now than in 3 years when she's traumatized by this guy. Another update, 4 days later. So, following my text, see the last post, Ella replied and told me she agreed to meet with me and talk. I just came back from seeing her. Here's how it went. She asked me what I wanted to tell her, and I started explaining that I didn't think her relationship was very healthy and that no older guy should want to date a teenager. I told her that she was an incredible woman, so I wasn't saying it was weird that someone would want to marry her, but that guys my age normally shouldn't even look at a teenager. She wasn't convinced and said that sometimes it's true, but sometimes it's okay. I asked her how she would feel if I told her that someone born today could be her future partner, and she said it felt really weird. I also asked her if she would consider dating someone younger than 15, and she said no. I could see her starting to realize that Mark maybe didn't have the best intentions. I also asked her if she knew about his previous relationship, and she said vaguely and just told me the girl's name. I asked her if she knew how old the girl was, and she said she was 21. I also asked her if she knew that their relationships overlapped, and she said that Mark always told her he was single since they met, but she kind of felt like that wasn't true. I told her that since his previous girlfriend was also significantly younger, it seemed like he had a thing for younger girls, which is kind of weird. After discussing that, she told me a bit more about their relationship. She told me she was starting to feel weird about it because of Mark's recent behavior. I asked what she meant, and she said that he'd been flirting with a lot of girls, who were also all younger, including some of Ella's friends. When she confronted him, he sort of gaslit her into thinking it wasn't flirting. He was also making a lot of comments about having children with Ella and how cute it would be to see her raise them. She told me she was absolutely not ready for that and also wanted to go to college and work and not be a stay-at-home mum. Because of all of that, she was doubting her relationship, and I told her that I understood. She said she was scared of breaking up with him because he had become her whole life recently, and she didn't know what she would do without him. I told her that she was surrounded by people who loved her and would be there for her, and that she was a lot more than just Mark's girlfriend. I said that she knew my opinion on it, but that ultimately the choice was hers, and that I just wanted her to be happy. I also said I would be there for her no matter what. She told me that she'll try to break up with him this week, and she'll let me know how it goes. I'll edit this post if I have more info. Also, again, thank you to everyone who gave advice and tried to help us. I really appreciate it. Edit. Okay, so I just want to say, some people in the comments seem to think that this is fake. And you know what? I can understand. And I don't really care. I'm not asking you to believe that my life is real or fake. And it's great that you don't just believe everything you see online. But I just want to say this. There are hundreds of people on here or elsewhere that share similar stories. I'm not really affected by people thinking I'm lying, mainly because I'm not the one in that situation, but some people might be. Some people come on here to share something that might have traumatized them, and the last thing they want is for others to think they're lying. So if you don't want to believe me, that's fine. But the next time, keep that to yourself. It's fine to not believe something, but you don't have to say it, because it might make other people feel really bad. Opie clarifies details regarding the boyfriend's previous relationship prior to the current one with Ella. To explain this in more detail, I went through the guy's socials with my friends a few days ago because we thought there might be other weird things going on, and we ended up finding info about his previous relationship, the one right before Ella. So Ella told me at Christmas, so December 24th, that they'd been dating for a few months, but when we searched his Facebook, we saw a post wishing happy birthday to a girl he called his baby on December 12th, and this girl appeared in other posts where they were kissing or he was calling her pet names, so we assumed she was his girlfriend, which Ella confirmed afterwards. And this girl also looked very young. He at one point wrote something about her and said, "As soon as you're done with college." So we knew she was in college, and she looked between 20 and 25, and Ella then confirmed that she was 21. But yeah, basically it seemed like he was still with his ex while dating Ella, so I asked her if she knew about that. Opie should be prepared to support his niece if she chooses to break up with her boyfriend and distance himself from the family if they're blaming OP for Ella's breakup. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if she ends up breaking up with him, which I hope, her dad will blame me for it, which is the last thing she'll need if she manages to get out of that relationship. I will gladly take the blame, but I'm just scared she'll feel guilty about it and blame herself if she sees that her dad is mad at me. She's a very empathetic kid, which is a really great quality, but sometimes she hurts herself because of it. Another update, 1 month later. I know it's been a while since I posted the last update, and a lot of people have been requesting updates on the whole situation, but until now I hadn't really received any news, so please forgive me if this update took a while to come. Since my conversation with Ella, I would check in on her once or twice a week and ask how things were, and she'd always tell me pretty much the same as what she told me a month ago. Basically, there were many red flags, and she was getting more and more uncomfortable in her relationship, but she also didn't know how to break up with him. I tried to give her some advice, but eventually told her that I thought she should do it when she felt comfortable. Yesterday, I called her to know what she had planned on Christmas and if she'd be coming to the Christmas dinner that I was hosting, and if Mark would be coming. That's when she told me that she had broken up with him the evening before. She was pretty shaken up, so I didn't ask for too much detail and asked if she wanted to come to my house for a while. She said that Mark had left to stay with his family when she told him, so she was okay staying home. This is maybe not a very detailed update, but here's what I know. She told me that he'd been getting angry at her all week for small things, and then they were talking about Christmas, and he insisted that they shouldn't go with Ella's family and instead spend a week with his family because they see them less often. They live out of state. And after that, he made a comment about how he hoped that the next year, as a present, they could give his mother a grandchild. And Ella said that's what really made her break up with him. And she also told me that she would be coming alone for Christmas. I don't know what she told him or how he reacted, and maybe she'll tell me more in a while when she feels better, and if not, I won't ask her to. If I get more information, I'll edit this post, but for now, that's it. Again, thank you to anyone who gave advice and tried to help with this situation. One comment says, I thank God Ella figured out he was not the one. Thank God for Ella. You're an amazing person and a wonderful uncle. She is incredibly lucky to have you in her life. Thank goodness Ella has you. Your words may have spared her quite a bit of pain. I'm happy she's broken up with him. Hopefully he doesn't weasel his way back into her home. Give his mother a grandchild? I'm sorry, what? That's just extremely creepy. The fact the family had no problem with the age gap is horrifying. There's a difference between two adults dating and, when I was born, my boyfriend was graduating high school. I'm glad Ella got out because you know he'd have an oops the condom broke accident. Yeah, super concerning. And even more concerning is the family just going along with it. Anyway guys, that's the end of that story for now. Fingers crossed this guy doesn't try to make more drama out of this breakup. Anyway, give me your thoughts in the comments and we'll move on to another story. Alrighty, we're still on Am I the A-hole? This one was written by user OneTeaching and it's titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my late husband's possible affair baby any money? My husband passed away almost 3 years ago, leaving me a solo mum of an 8-year-old. I've learned a lot about who he really was since then. Let's just say that if he were alive, we wouldn't still be married. About 6 weeks ago, a process server showed up trying to serve him with a court order to submit DNA for a kid. I gave him a copy of the death certificate and sent him on his way. Shortly after that, a woman shows up on my doorstep saying that the kid she had with her was my late husband's child. Is it? I don't know, and I don't care. It kind of looks like him, but also looks young enough that they would have to have been conceived very, very shortly before his death. I told her that he was gone, and where she could find his grave. She almost immediately started demanding her half of his estate. I laughed and told her that half of nothing was nothing, and she was welcome to that. Where I've been informed that I might be the a-hole is that while it's true there was no estate, there were assets that passed outside of probate. One of those assets was a rental property that his parents gave us years ago, deeded with him and I as the joint tenants with rights of survivorship. In short, it became mine when he died. I've already sold it, and that will be the money that sends my kids to college. Legally, I'm good. Already talked to my attorney about this. While I feel bad for this child, I also have a child of my own to look out for. I'm going to edit this to answer a few questions that I've gotten. No, there was no will in place for him. In my state, the interstate inheritance laws say that the only heirs are me and my child, and then the first 50k of the estate goes to me, and my child gets half of what's left. If this does turn out to be his child, then half of the estate would go to me and half to my children, i.e. my child would get 25% and the other child would get 25%. However, that is a moot point because his estate was literally an empty bank account and $40 in cash. Everything else passed outside of probate. A good estate attorney is worth every penny, even if I could never get him to meet with her to do his damn will. There was no life insurance. Yes, I'm in the US and my child is receiving survivor's benefits. They aren't huge, but they do pay for the therapy bills. He hadn't worked for a vast majority of our marriage, but luckily did have enough credits to qualify. At this point, I'm not opposed to helping the other child receive the same benefits since it won't affect mine. However, my attorney has recommended to hold off at this time because we don't know what she's planning. She assures me that if the other mother files with Social Security, that they'll backdate any payments to at least the date filed, so holding off won't affect the total amount if it does turn out to be his child. I have no idea if she knew he was married at the time or not. My husband's parents are alive, but our relationship is strained at best. I haven't told them about any of this and have done my best to let them keep believing that their son was a saint. Tread carefully. Could be a bit of a cash grab for this woman. Yeah, smart to not jump the gun and let the processes take place. Let's go to the comments. Not the a-hole for having nothing to offer, but you're definitely the a-hole for referring to this child as an it, like he or she isn't even alive to you. How hateful. That child is innocent, completely innocent, and they're a person who did literally nothing to ask for your cruel dismissiveness of their very humanity. Opie replies, I'm trying to maintain some semblance of privacy here by not referencing whether it's a boy or a girl. I live in a small town and the rumors are already flying. Not the a-hole, and for what it's worth, that's not a terribly uncommon scam for some reason. If you still have the papers, I'd look into if they were even legitimate. Opie says they were. That was the first thing my attorney looked into. The working theory is that she really didn't know when she filed. Why she waited so long is anyone's guess. Not the a-hole. You owe her nothing. Info, other than her word, do you have any proof that he actually did sleep with her? Do you have any other reason to change your opinion about your husband at this point? Opie says, I haven't found anything definitive that he was sleeping with anyone else, but I did find out that he was hiding a drug addiction and lying about a lot of other things, so it's possible. Opie clarifies on the possible estate. When I say there was no estate, I mean there was no estate. We had separate bank accounts. His was empty and there was $40 in his wallet. It's still there, actually. He didn't work, had no life insurance, and was generally uninterested in handling financial stuff. There was nothing else that wasn't jointly owned or solely in my name. Not the a-hole, but keeping a rental property would have been a better choice than selling it and letting it sit in a bank account for a decade. Opie says, that place was an albatross. It needed thousands of dollars of work, and I just didn't have the bandwidth to be a landlord at that time. It's actually in a brokerage account, so it's not losing ground to inflation. Does Opie or her child qualify for survivor benefits? My child does receive benefits, but not nearly that much. It's enough to cover their therapy bills. My husband hadn't worked consistently in at least 10 years, but thankfully did have enough credits to qualify. What's going on here? Let's go to an update. So, it is his child. Or at least there's enough shared DNA to determine that my in-laws are the grandparents and there's no way it's their other sons. The biggest update is that the mother doesn't currently have custody. I'm still a bit unsure of the timeline, but there might have already been a CPS case open when she first contacted me. She's apparently a fan of the same illicit substances that my husband was. That would explain how they met. Unfortunately, that means that the child is now in foster care. My in-laws were not deemed an appropriate placement, and I won't do it. I've been working with a caseworker with regards to getting Social Security benefits for the child. In my state, survivor benefits offset any child support obligations, so even if there was an estate, the SS benefits most likely exceed the amount he would owe based on his work history prior to death. This hasn't affected my own child's benefits. I still haven't determined exactly what I'll do with this information going forward. I've set aside some money in an online savings account, but it's still in my name. Until the mother's rights are completely terminated or the child ages out of the system, I don't want anything that would possibly give her access to it. I will also eventually have to tell my child that there is a sibling out there. I've been through the ringer over the last couple of months and I'm still just so freaking mad that I'm still cleaning up my husband's mess. Wow, some final comments. Does Opie's husband have any siblings that could take the child in? There are 2 siblings, both out of state. His brother is single and in the military and isn't a good option. His sister is, let's just say, maliciously child-free. There are a couple of cousins that might be suitable eventually. I'm really not sure what's going on with that process because even though I'm friendly with the caseworker, I'm also not related to his child, nor am I a licensed foster provider, so there are limits to what she can tell me due to privacy. And why can't Opie take the child in? I won't go as far as calling them a burden, but I'm in no position to take on another child, and have taken measures to prevent that. I already feel like I fail my own child on a weekly basis. Wow, I can't imagine how hard this has been for you, and I'm so sorry you're dealing with this. You're not just managing the fallout of your late husband's actions, you're also being incredibly thoughtful about protecting your child and this other child's future, all while trying to navigate your own emotions. I think it's really commendable that you're ensuring the child gets the social security benefits they're entitled to, even though you're under no obligation to do so. Setting aside money for their future is above and beyond, especially given the situation with the mother. Keeping it in your name until things stabilize sounds like the smart and safe call. When the time comes to tell your child about their sibling, I hope you have support to help navigate that conversation. You've already shown so much strength and grace in a really unfair situation. Don't forget to give yourself space to process everything. You deserve peace after everything you've been through. You're doing amazing, even if it doesn't feel like it. And remember, the best response to, "Why won't you take your husband's affair child? It's the right thing to do. The kid is innocent in this. How can you be so heartless and not take the child? You have to take the child," is, "Thank you for volunteering. I'll contact the caseworker immediately and let them know you're going to take the child since it's the right thing to do." What money did affair partner think she was going to get when she knew that her boyfriend and drug partner wasn't even working and they were both spending all their money on drugs? Why are people telling Opie to take the child? What the hell is up with Reddit trying to force people to parent a child they have no legal or moral responsibility to? This is just a crap situation all around, for Opie and the affair child. Honestly, she's doing more than many others would. I can't blame her at all for not wanting to raise another child, let alone the offspring of her late husband's affair. Leave it to a selfish cheater to force everyone to have to clean up his mess. Yeah, it's the equivalent of a baby rocking up at your front door in a basket. There's no reason why people should expect her to just, take on the kid. But yeah, this whole situation is a mess, and I'm glad Opie's dealing with it, level-headedly at least. Anyway guys, you know the drill. Let me know your thoughts down below, and we'll move on again. Alrighty, this next one was written by user Zealous Ideal Mix, and it's titled, "Am I the a-hole for refusing to give my husband the cash I got back from a present he asked me to return?" For context, my husband, 46, got into a terrible cycling accident last year. He suffered from a punctured lung requiring a chest tube, 3 broken ribs and a broken clavicle. He spent 5 days in the hospital. It was really scary for all of us. He is finally back on the bike and training again. The kids and I worked really hard for his birthday present this year. We wanted it to be something to recognize how proud we were of him getting back on the bike. It's important to mention that when we asked what he wanted for his birthday, he would tell us, "I don't need anything." We, by we I mean me, because our kids are both under the age of 7, got him a Garmin Varia, which is a bike radar and camera that provides a tail light, visibility to approaching cars, and notifies the biker of approaching cars. Total cost was $500. We gave it to him last night, and it was pretty obvious he did not want it. This morning he asked me to return it. I'm ticked about his ungrateful reaction, but that's another conversation. Later on today, he informs me that he'll just take the $500 cash amount as his present instead. I told him hell no. He doesn't want the gift, fine, but I'm not giving him the money, especially with how ungrateful he was for the original gift. He says I'm the a-hole, and that it's his gift, and therefore his cash. So, am I the a-hole for not giving my husband the cash that I'm getting back for returning the gift he didn't like? Let's go straight to the comment. As a cyclist myself, I'm confused why he wouldn't want that rear camera for extra insurance, especially after being in an accident. Your husband went through his own experiences after his accident. Perhaps he's not as comfortable about being on a bike as you think he is. Maybe someone should ask him why he doesn't love the gift. It appears this gift is more about how you feel and less about your husband. Opie replies, "Nah, he's riding like 20 miles several times a week. He's back to training for a triathlon." Info, out of curiosity, if he wasn't interested in the gift, how did he know the cost and why didn't he return it himself? Asking for the nitwits in the peanut gallery who are insisting that the gift is about how you feel, which is actually the point of giving a gift to express your love. Opie replies, he knows about the product because he has other Garmin products. He estimated and was right. I don't know why he won't initiate the return himself, but regardless, the money will go back on my card, not his. Not the a-hole. I'm assuming you spent more money on his gift because it was something that would say, we love you and we want you to be safe. So yeah, give him some money or another gift, but something that you would have gotten usually like $50 or $100. Opie replies, correct about everything. I spent more than we usually would because I truly thought he would appreciate this for himself and see the value for the whole family. And Opie comments on why she wanted to get a gift that is associated with her husband's accident. He's biking again though, a lot. He's training for a triathlon, so he's back out there multiple times a week. Yeah, it seems weird that he wouldn't just accept the present. It sounds like a pretty good present to me for someone who, rides bikes a lot. Okay, on to an update 4 days later. I'm not sure if this is how you're supposed to post an update. I had no idea my post was going to get this much attention. Thank you everyone for your advice. I want to clarify a few things. 1. This present was not a way to encourage him back on the bike. He's been riding again for several months now, 20 plus miles at least 3 days a week. He's training for a triathlon. 2. I asked my husband if the present triggered him or brought back any traumatic memories. He told me it did not. His reason for not wanting it is that he doesn't want all the extra electronics on his bike. He did apologize for his reaction and thanked the kids and I for the thoughtful gift, but explained that he would never use it. 3. Not that it's really anyone's business, but we have a joint account and then we each have our own separate bank accounts. It works for us. 4. I did not give him the money. We agreed to use some of the money to set up a fire pit in our backyard, which is something he's wanted to do for a while. The rest of the cash is going back in my wallet. And 5. I got the Garmin Varia RCT715 with a rear view bike camera for $399, and then I got the Garmin Edge 130 Plus compact bike computer to go with it, which was $120 for those of you questioning if I'm telling the truth about the price. That's all folks. I wish he kept the gift for his safety, but I can't force him to use it. I've learned my lesson and I will no longer be buying surprise gifts for him. If he doesn't tell me exactly what he wants, he'll get a gift card. Alright, well there you go. His excuse is, passable I suppose. Some people really like the aesthetic of their bikes not having too many things on it, so I guess I can understand that. Let's read some final comments. It sounds like you're doing what's best for both of you, even if it's not what others might expect. A joint effort for the fire pit is a great compromise. As for the gift, it's okay to learn and adjust next time. Just ask what he wants. Sometime in the future, you might try to have a conversation about this setup again. I'm an avid cyclist, and the Garmin and Vario is really nice. The Vario giving me a heads up that there is a car sneaking up behind me is really, really nice. Camera is an added bonus, but one that he might not see benefits from right away. The Edge is also a great training tool. I assume he's using Strava on his phone to record his rides. He's going to get much better data from the Garmin for what it's worth. In the end, it's up to him, but man, I really like what you tried to set him up with. I ride every weekend on some country roads. I can't imagine riding without my radar. It gives me a peace of mind knowing a car is approaching from behind, so I better try to move over as much as possible. I was reluctant to get one at first because I didn't want to spend the money, but my wife convinced me it was worth it if it saved me from one accident. Maybe I don't get it because I'm not a cyclist, but I'd be kind of annoyed if a loved one refused to use additional safety equipment after getting into a serious accident. I'm a cyclist and I have one of these radars. When I first got it, I was really on the fence. I have a mirror on my bike. Do I really need an expensive electronic device that mostly does the same thing? So I feel the guy's hesitation. But after the first time using it, I never ride without it. It's fantastic. It's easy to zone out and not pay attention to the mirror, and this jolts you back to reality when a car is coming. Especially if I'm riding with someone and we're talking. I get twitchy if I forget it for some reason. I have a couple bikes, so I have to switch it back and forth. There you go, might have to look into that one myself. Anyway guys, that's the end of the story, and that's it from me today. I hope you guys enjoyed those stories, thanks for making it to the end, and I'll see you all in the next video. Have a good day. Cheers.